Thanks for joining me again. I want to begin by thanking the County Council for the unanimous decision to fully fund the contracts my administration negotiated with our county employee groups. I'm very pleased that all 11 members agreed with me that our dedicated county employees deserve the pay increase that is in line with the growing cost of living in our region. Our county workforce does an outstanding job running this 365-day-a-year operation. As you know, the budget I submitted in March also contained a property tax increase solely dedicated to our school system. The funds raised would go to pay for services our elected school board and superintendent determined are necessary to provide all of the children in our county a quality education. I knew this was a lot to ask of our residents and taxpayers. With my experience in this community over the last 70 years, as a student, a parent, a grandparent, a retail clerk, a teacher, an elected official, a homeowner, and a taxpayer, has shown me this community values education and it has been willing to pay more when it comes to giving our children the very best opportunity at a great life. Earlier this week, the council decided to put aside my broad-based property tax increase and instead raise revenues by eliminating the county's largest property tax credit for homeowners, the poorly named Income Tax Offset Credit, otherwise known as EMTOC, I-T-O-C. This credit provides every homeowner in the county with a $692 reduction in their property tax bill. Eliminating this credit will mean that every homeowner's bill will increase on July 1st by $692. While council members are saying they've rejected my tax rate increase, they're considering a tax bill increase that for many homeowners, especially seniors and residents on fixed incomes, will actually mean paying more while the county collects less revenues to support schools and services. And I think residents deserve at least a very honest conversation about that. This credit currently helps approximately 201,000 owner-occupied households in Montgomery County. Again, when you eliminate the EMTOC, homeowners lose that benefit immediately. That means homeowners will see their property tax bills increase compared to what they're paying today. Now compare that to my recommended approach to rates. I proposed a 6.3% property tax increase dedicated to MCPS funding while preserving the EMTOC. As I pointed out last week, for homeowners with property valued below $1,090,000, the cost of eliminating the EMTOC is a greater cost to homeowners than the cost created by the property tax increase I recommended. So the council is trying to characterize this as avoiding a property tax increase, but for many homeowners, the elimination of the EMTOC amounts to a larger tax burden, and the burden does not fall evenly. Under the council plan, commercial properties are untouched. What a surprise. Their taxes are not increasing while you, the homeowners, absorb the loss of the credit. To make matters worse, for the long term, there's a second proposal pending before the council to restructure the local income tax. The council plan reduces income taxes for all taxpayers earning under $900,000. That sounds attractive politically, but there are major questions nobody seems to want to answer publicly, like who actually benefits enough from the income tax reduction to offset the loss of the EMTOC. This is the definition of a lose-lose situation. Homeowners pay more, the county council collects less revenue overall, and we create larger structural budget problems moving forward. Passage of this income tax proposal will leave my successor with an enormous problem and our taxpayers with whiplash, as the next council will likely need to undo all of this. Just like the council rejected the council president's initial call to reduce employee compensation, now that has been reversed completely, council members need to reject this ill-conceived income tax plan that was never once received a public hearing. I respect and appreciate the desire of many council members to provide relief to the families who are struggling the most in our community. That's why I included an increase in the Working Families Income Supplement in my budget. I recognize the impact of a tax increase, and we were trying to target a program that would mitigate that increase for the lowest income people. This program provides meaningful financial assistance primarily to working parents with dependent children. It puts meaningful dollars into their pockets to pay for food and housing. It is much more targeted on an income than an income tax rate cut is. I would urge those on the council who share my desire to help the most vulnerable in our county to return to this proposal. Tuesday was Teacher Appreciation Day and an opportunity to thank everyone who contributes to a child's education. When I became a teacher, this was around 40 years ago, It started as a temporary job, but when I realized the great need that the children face because of the impacts of poverty, I became dedicated to it. I thought my role would be in high school, but I realized that educators could even make a greater difference in elementary school before kids made their mind whether to tune in or not. Education sets the stage for everything else. If kids don't learn the fundamentals of reading and writing by the time they leave 5th grade, they're very likely not to get it later. I spent 17 years in the classroom. When I went back to visit Rolling Terrace a couple of years ago, I ran into a former student who is now a parent dropping her own kids off at school that day. It shows that schools are a fundamental part of our community. They all deserve our best attention and support. That's why I continue to recommend record investment in education year after year. Still, more help is needed. I want to thank MCPS for recognizing this as Teacher Appreciation Week. It's a tough job that deserves community support, and I was struck by comments made by the president of Montgomery County Education Association, David Stein, this week as he was in front of the council. He took a moment during a proclamation ceremony recognizing Education Appreciation Week to say this.
On behalf of the 14,000 educators that I work with and I represent, we appreciate the words and we appreciate the proclamation, because those 14,000 educators who are right now, even as we speak, in the classrooms, in their buildings, work sites, in students' homes, they are miracle workers. They are performing miracles every day. They are meeting students with all sorts of challenges. They are nurturing them. They are loving them. They are inspiring them. They are educating them, even in the conditions that we face, with underfunded schools, with buildings that are really falling apart in many cases. They're doing the work. And in our nation's environment, in which teachers are under attack, in which unions are under attack. And so teachers' unions are really under attack. And it's in that environment that our teachers and our educators every single day are performing miracles. And so we really do appreciate the words that you're saying. But I have to say that for a lot of my members, for most of my members, these words they see these words as hollow. When you are at the same time giving sincere words of appreciation, when at the same time you're considering budget scenarios that may devastate our schools. They ring hollow.
I encourage you to go and watch his full remarks. If you're going to say you're here with our students, with our teachers, and we're investing in our future workforce, then invest in it. And while we often focus so much on what teachers do in our schools, we can't forget the thousands of other employees at MCPS who are not only educators, but their jobs and their work and their importance to the children, the teachers, the principals, and the families they serve is equally important. MCPS staff is represented by our local SEIU 500 and its president, Pia Morrison. She joined my weekly briefing.
70% of the support staff professionals that work in MCPS are indeed Montgomery County residents and tax-paying residents. Most of the support staff professionals are 10-month employees. They have almost 30 days of no work, no pay days, and most of them are working multiple jobs just to be able to put food on the table and to be able to meet their most basic needs for themselves and for their families. And the people that we're talking about specifically are our paraeducators who support children who are often struggling in the classroom and also provide one-on-one support to our children who have special needs. We're talking about security staff. We're talking about building service workers who are both sets of those workers are keeping schools safe and also keeping schools clean and creating a positive learning and work environment for our both staff and students.
On Thursday, I joined Governor Westmore, transportation officials, and members of our state delegation in Silver Spring as part of the governor's Delivering for Maryland tour to mark the installation of the final section of the Purple Line track and the beginning of the project's testing phase. There's been a very long road. The idea for the Purple Line dates back decades, and the project has faced delays, funding challenges, the mismanagement of this whole project by previous Governor Hogan, the pandemic, and the loss of the original contractor, also because of Governor Hogan. Reaching this milestone is significant for Montgomery County, Prince George's County, and the state of Maryland. The Purple Line will eventually provide another transportation option connecting residents to Metro, MARC, Ride-On, and other transit systems while helping improve mobility throughout this corridor. Transportation infrastructure matters because it impacts everything from economic development to housing to access to jobs and schools. There's also an opportunity to highlight several ways the state and Montgomery County continue working together during a difficult economic period. That includes support for displaced federal workers, investments in transportation and affordable housing, and continued efforts to grow our life sciences and technology sectors. I appreciate the partnership Governor Moore and his administration have shown on many of these issues, and I look forward to continuing our beneficial partnership. Speaking of partnership, I also joined the Governor, the Maryland Department of Commerce, and the economic development leaders from across the state at the SelectUSA Investment Summit that was held at National Harbor. This conference brings together international companies and investors from around the world who are looking to expand and create jobs in the United States. It provides Maryland with an opportunity to compete for these investments. Montgomery County continues to be one of the leading destinations in the country for international businesses, particularly life sciences, biotechnology, quantum computing, cybersecurity, and other advanced technologies. We have one of the most highly educated workforces in the nation, proximity to federal agencies and research institutions, and diverse international community that makes companies from around the world feel welcome here. That work does not happen alone. Our partnership with the Moore-Miller administration and the Maryland Department of Commerce has been extremely important in helping attract international investment and to strengthen Maryland's position globally. Whether it's working together on trade missions, supporting companies looking to expand here, or coordinating efforts around workforce development and infrastructure, the state has been a strong partner to help us compete economically. At a time when we're facing uncertainty from federal layoffs and economic instability, continuing to attract international business and investment is more important than ever. These companies create jobs, strengthen our tax base, support small businesses, and help ensure that Maryland counties and Montgomery County remain economically competitive for the future. Last week, we hosted a celebration of the newest microgrid in our county at the Equipment Maintenance, Transit, and Operations Center, also known as EMTOC. This is one of two principal locations where the transit fleet in the county is maintained and from which it operates. Our transit fleet has traditionally been the county's largest fuel consumer, with this facility alone consuming 1.76 million gallons of fuel every year. And our buses produce over 4,000 metric tons of carbon emissions yearly. But times are changing. In response to our aggressive climate goals, our Department of General Services has employed innovative strategies such as microgrids and energy resilient facilities across the county. The EMTOC microgrid is the most recent and outstanding example of this commitment. It is now the largest renewable energy powered bus depot in the United States. By 2035, the site will support 200 zero-emission buses, including hydrogen fuel cell electric buses that match the extended range that we need for our longest routes, which were previously only met by carbon emission buses. Combined with our Brookville facility, we will have the infrastructure to power 335 zero-emission buses, helping us build one of the largest green fleets in the region. The new 6.8 megawatt microgrid is designed to operate in island mode, meaning that even if the main power grid goes down, our transit system continues to run. In phase 2 of this project, we will host the first on-site green hydrogen production facility on the East Coast, using a 2 megawatt electrolyzer to produce hydrogen for hydrogen electric school buses, some of which will actually be delivered later this year. The impact is massive. The project alone reduces more than 4,000 metric tons of CO2, and that's the equivalent of taking 780 homes off the grid. These investments support the expansion of our bus rapid transit network and create high-tech career opportunities for underserved communities. This achievement was made possible through powerful partnerships with Alpha Structure and PEPCO, as well as nearly $15 million in federal funds from the Federal Transit Administration and $1.6 million from the Maryland Energy Administration. I've got to thank Lieutenant Governor Runa Miller personally on her visit at the ceremony. The county has also added microgrids in key locations like the 6th District Police Station, Emergency Communications Center, our public safety headquarters, and the animal shelter, because these are areas that should never be without power, even in an emergency. Soon coming to Wheaton, and this is going to be exciting. I want to mention some good economic development news for Wheaton. Silver Branch Brewery and Mosaic Cuisine are now planning to open a new location in the community. I think it's another positive sign of the continued momentum and investment we're seeing in Wheaton. Wheaton has been one of the most diverse and vibrant small business communities anywhere in our region. It has incredible food, arts, culture, and entrepreneurs who have continued investing in this community through some very difficult years, including the pandemic, the economic uncertainty of now. Projects and businesses like this matter because they help activate our downtowns, create jobs, and bring more foot traffic to surrounding businesses. And they give residents more places to gather and spend time locally. And in this case, we're talking about a locally owned business that already has a successful presence in Montgomery County, choosing to invest now further in Wheaton's future. The county has made major investments in Wheaton over the last several years, from the redevelopment, the town center, and the public spaces, to transportation, housing, and economic development efforts. We are continuing to see the benefits of these investments as more businesses recognize the importance and energy that exists in this community. I want to thank the owners of Silver Branch and our DGS staff for making this deal happen. We're excited to welcome them to the community and look forward to seeing the positive impact they're going to have on the area. May is many things. May is a very special month for many different groups, including police officers, firefighters, corrections, nurses, educators, and many more. I go into further detail in my newsletter, but I want to acknowledge here the family of fallen officers in our community who were honored this week. This is always an emotional ceremony that gives us an opportunity to pay tribute to those who made the ultimate sacrifice in the name of public safety. These losses impact generations of families in Montgomery County. We're grateful and humbled by what these families are willing to give up to keep Montgomery County safe. Finally, I want to wish everyone a happy Mother's Day on Sunday. I have a daughter, 2 foster sons, and I'm a grandparent. Mothers are the backbones of every family. They provide nurturing, support, and inspiration, and we are forever grateful for their guidance, love, and the presence in our life. So, that's a wrap for today. I hope you have a wonderful celebration with your mothers this weekend, and I hope it's a great weekend otherwise. And I'll be back again next week.